Hi, Donna L. Holloman here. This is my vlog, The Spiritual Archer, and now I'm more focused on the twin flame awakening 1111. I believe 1111 is the pillars, and it's kind of the little pathway to heaven in a sense. And as you see that number in synchronicity, and a twin flame is definitely a synchronicity, spiritual connection. And today I like to talk about recap on the Purge. Now, the Purge is an awakening process, so to prep you for meeting your twin flame, and also through getting through past the human psyche. And the Purge itself, when it starts out, we start with a reaction, and to when light shines down into your being, there's energies that is pent up within ourselves, and these energies are probably past life. It could be past life, it could be fear, it could be current life with fears and anxieties and all kinds of things that you can possibly think of that the human psyche can handle. And then there's also energies from your DNA situations, like your parents and their parents and their parents before that and their parents. And it can possibly go back to eons, how we hold on to certain circumstances or situations over lifetimes. And at this day and age, there's a time to that the earth is moving into a new dimension, a new space, according to, several people, like I love Bruce Lipton. He is talks about we can change our environment through our DNA. And then there's Greg Braden, who talks about the 2012 phenomena that Earth is moving into a new dimension. I've oh my gosh, I studied so many authors and people out there just to figure out what the heck is happening to me. What? Why? What is happening? What is all this purge? What is all this crying? What is all this thrown up? What is all this sickness? And it's extreme. It's more extreme than ever. Even as a human being, how we move into our new, environment, like say for example, we go from puberty to adulthood to, elderly. There's a phase in there where we purge, where we let go of our past environments, like being a teenager. You can't stay a teenager forever, and sometimes when you go over that hump, you go through a purge, a stage, because we don't want to go. We don't want to leave. We don't want change, but change is going to happen regardless we want it or not. It's going to happen, and we can't stop it because it's higher than us. If the earth is moving in a new dimension, that means we are going along with it. If we're not going along with it, then we're stuck on the roller coaster ride over and over and over again. Okay, now the purge itself. Now, me personally, I had emotional purge 3 times. Before I met my twin flame, during the twin flame, and after the twin flame. And why did I have so many purges? Because now I've learned that I don't have to purge. All I have to do is release. Release. Release means to embrace okay, how do I put this in terms? Okay, the purge itself, I had to come to terms that this is too much. This is a lot. This is a whole lot to handle. What can I possibly do about it? Me personally, what can I possibly do about this? It's a lot. It's a lot. So what I did is I found a way to exercise. Because the more that tornado comes flowing up into my gut, okay, then I want to just scream. But I learned you don't want to do that. I learned you want to take that tornado. You want to go with the tornado. You want to breathe into the tornado. But then it's hard because then you get to that peak and you got a block. Then the block comes and then you lost it and you're crying again. But eventually you'll get the hang of it. You'll go with the flow and accept and embrace the purge. And the purge is, once you start breathing into it, is when you exercise, you stop thinking so much about it and you focus more on your breathing and your body. Okay, that helps a little bit with the purge, because it helps it come through you and out somewhere around here. And then when you slow down, you're able to breathe easily into the purge until finally you surrender. You have to surrender that purge until it goes away. Okay? And then another one comes, and it's another tornado. Sometimes some are smaller, some are larger, and most of the time they happen all the time. I found out after the twin flame was gone that I was still having these little tornadoes. But during that purge episode, I realized that it's time for me to surrender them, because there's nothing I can possibly do other than embrace what is happening and trust that whatever I'm surrendering, when I'm surrendering, leaving, letting it go, something is taking it over. Something is going out into space. It's coming from the bottom of my toes out to the top of my head. You can actually feel the energy release itself. And then that part of the energy is gone and it will never come back. Now, sometimes, occasionally, you find that some of your release, when you learn how to release once, okay, you can do it again. But we still have that block. Sometimes we'll get a block and we want to cry, but we learn that crying and reacting to it only blocks it more. So now we learn through the purge, because it gets so much and so much that it can actually drive you literally mad if you don't learn how to let it go. You know, I wouldn't say it would drive you mad, because there's so many guides, and it seems like angels, it seems like there's spiritual entities that are there with you through this purge and release and surrender process. So essentially, you can say that the purge is a constant phenomena. The difference is we finally learn how to ride the wave into surrender, because each one is a surrender process. And the surprisingly thing, the most fantastic thing about a purge is when you surrender, your energy, your power comes back. You feel stronger. You feel like more than human. Your spirit is growing stronger each time you surrender that tornado. And it can be many tornadoes. And I haven't had a cry or throw up like that since 2012. I mean, of course I had episodes where I reacted, but I was also aware of my reaction. I became aware of, the purge itself is probably trying to help us learn how to be aware of what's happening within us. And the earth is definitely moving into a new dimension, and inside we are moving into a new dimension, and we have to learn how to ride with it and go with the flow of that life, of that inner world, to because the outer world is designed by our inner world, and our higher self is guiding us to let go, to surrender to yourself. Really, is surrendering to pain and suffering. Is surrendering from it. Is surrendering pain and suffering. Is giving it away. Is letting it go, and then you'll find peace. Peace starts coming. Peace on earth. You feel happier. You don't really have to try a whole lot. All we could do is, like I said, the exercise, like for me, was yoga and meditation. And when I learned how to surrender it, that was the hardest thing to do. That was the most challenging, to get over that hump. Once I learned how I learned how to surrender was, I did a yoga exercise, and it seemed like it affected my brain to the point that it just calmed me down really well. It calmed me really down good. And then I went right after that, I went into a meditation, because there was a 21-day meditation challenge. And so I took that challenge, and I was like, okay, I signed up. So that right after my exercise, I laid down on the floor with my earphones on, and I turned it up as high as I could, and I listened. And then that tornado started coming. And as that tornado came, I put myself in the position where I was the observer, because if I was in it, then I'll do that sickness again. So this time you have to practice for yourself. Every person is totally different. I mean, every person could be different. But in my experience, I laid down on the floor, I had my earphones on, and I just took it in, and I let it go through me. It actually went past the block and came out. And the amazing thing about it is, once it came through, I was tired though. I did take a nap. I was really tired. Once it did come through, I don't want to say this, because it's like I don't know what's the word for it, but I do believe aliens probably have something to do with this, because once I let go, once I learned how to surrender, and between awake and asleep, I really saw his alien face smile at me. He came into my middle, just between sleep and awake, and smiled. And I was like, what was that? What does that mean? Wait a minute. So, and that's when I go back to Dolores Cannon, saying that the aliens comes down and are taking care of us. So are they working together to help us surrender? Or are we the only ones that's going through this thing right now? Is the universe looking down on the earth plane and saying, look, she surrendered. Yay! Well, this is so interesting. I really am amazed, but it's so true. I don't know how to explain it, but I just have to share, and I love sharing with you, and I hope you get something out of this. So until next week, till next Thursday, thank you so much for listening and sticking by, and maybe you might get something out of it, because I was searching my butt off to figure out who can tell me what the heck was going on, and now hopefully I can explain it as best to my ability. So thank you again for stopping by, and namaste.